Now, there was another one which might be very regional to the south of Spain. I'm not sure. But in Seville in particular, people have the phrase which is no ni na, no ni na, no ni na. And
I thought that was Catalan.
as far as I know, no, but maybe it's just a
Okay.
national thing, or maybe it's common in different regions. But I think it's pretty common in Andalusia, where
I didn't know
you
that.
say no ni na, which
Okay.
you think that it means no, and you're like exaggerating the fact that it is a negative. But in fact, no ni na actually means like yes, which is
Yeah.
mind-blowing. Hola a todos, buenos días, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo vamos? Yo estoy muy bien. ¿Y Chris, qué tal tú?
Yo estoy muy bien, gracias, Luis. Sí, estoy contento otra vez de estar aquí. Hemos empezado en español esta semana, así que
Sí,
eso fue
sí,
una
a ver.
sorpresa. No hemos hablado de eso fue una sorpresa total.
Me gusta improvisar a veces, ya sabes, me gusta improvisar. O en inglés podríamos decir, I like to play it by ear. Or I like to wing it. Así que
Yeah,
nada,
that's my favorite one, to wing it. Yeah, let's just wing it this week.
let's wing it. Pero sí, hemos empezado en español por un motivo. Y el motivo es que hoy vamos a hablar de un tema que es palabras o frases que no tienen traducción en inglés. O que tienen traducción, pero no es una traducción muy literal o muy buena. Pero ya está, basta de español y vamos a seguir en inglés como siempre. So yeah, Chris, how's life?
Yeah, life's really good, thanks. I don't know about in Belgium, but in Gijón, this is my 3rd October I've spent in Gijón, and we always have great weather. I don't know why. I don't know if it's every year or just coincidentally the last 3 years I've been here, but we always have great weather in October. So I was getting a bit of a tan yesterday, so that was nice. A bit tired today because I think the sun takes it out of you, which is a really good expression to say makes you tired or makes you exhausted. The sun really takes it out of you. So I think today I'm feeling a bit tired because of that. Maybe the beers yesterday as well, but I think it's mainly the sun. Yeah, yeah. How about you? How's life? How's everything going?
Life's good, you know. I'm pretty worn out as well. I'm a bit knackered because I was in Paris this weekend. So I got back last night at 8 or 9 o'clock and I went to Paris with a Parisian, with a guy
Oh wow.
from Paris because my fiance's friend, they're both from Sevilla, but they both live here in Brussels, and she's going out with a French guy who happens to be from Paris. So he was like, my parents aren't at home at the house this weekend, so do you want to come see Paris with me? So I was like,
Awesome.
of course, I'd love to. So we got a lift with them. We went with them by car, so that was nice. And then we just wandered around the city centre. I managed to record a few videos as well, which you will see in the near future. And I ate a lot. I drank a lot. I had a good time, but it really took it out of me. It really wore me out. So today, I need a lot of
How long
caffeine.
how long is the drive from Belgium to Paris? How long was that in the car?
It's a bit longer than it seems, or at least longer than what I expected, because we left on Friday at about rush hour, about 4 or 5 o'clock. So the way there was almost 4 hours because of so much traffic. But
That's still
then,
less than I was expecting. I was thinking maybe 8, 9, or 10. So four
no.
hours.
If you look at the map, it's pretty close. And it's 4 hours with traffic, but 3 hours almost without traffic. So Sunday
Wow.
evening, there wasn't a lot of traffic, and it took us, I think, 3 hours, 15 minutes. And it was great. I spoke a little bit of French as well, so it felt good to be almost immersed in French for a little bit. And just one English tip to give here. I said the way there was 4 hours. The way back was 3 hours, 15 minutes. And sometimes some students will ask me, like, ¿cómo se dice la ida? ¿Y cómo se dice la vuelta? ¿Y cómo se dice la ida y vuelta?
Yeah.
So, la ida would be the way there. La vuelta, the way back, or the trip back, the journey back, etc. And if you want to say ida y vuelta, it's just a return trip. So going there and coming back. So that's your first little tip so far. And
Yeah, very useful in England when buying train tickets. You will see the options on the machine. A return ticket is the way there and the way back. So, yeah, I think that's really useful for anyone who wants to go to England and maybe get some trains around the country. Yeah, look for a return trip, although it will be very expensive because the trains in England are on another level of price. Yeah,
exactly, they're a rip-off. They're
a
extortionate.
rip-off.
And instead of saying the way there or the way back, you can also just see if you're at a ticket machine or on an application, just a one-way ticket. So that's another way of putting it. But that's enough about that. Given that I've already given a little tip so far, Chris, do you want to give us another tip of a phrase that you have taught over the last week on your Instagram account?
Yeah, I would love to. I actually had a very successful video this week, which was Que significa birthday suit. Now, I didn't realize how unknown this expression was because it's very commonly used in sitcoms. I know in How I Met Your Mother, one of the characters, Barney, always says suit up. In one episode, when he gets naked, he says birthday suit up. So it's a very common phrase. But I got lots of amazing comments from the students saying this is brilliant. But yeah, to be in your birthday suit is just to be naked, completely naked. Why birthday suit? Because it's the suit, the clothes you were wearing when you were born on your very, very first birthday. It's what you were wearing. Nothing, your birthday suit. So, yeah, obviously, this is in a very humorous tone. The doctor won't say, "Oh, get down to your birthday suit so I can examine you." No, it's
Sounds
a
a bit
very kind
creepy.
of, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, if my doctor said that to me, I'd be filing a complaint, I think, yeah. But in a humorous way, yeah, I think my example, I was in the shower and the fire alarm went off, so I had to run out into the street in my birthday suit. It's just a fun way of saying completely naked. So yeah, birthday suit, to be completely naked. What about you on your Instagram? Any interesting phrases this week?
I'll do two nice and quickly. So, yesterday I posted a phrase which was, ¿Qué significa tie the knot in English? And simply put, to tie the knot is to get married, casarse. But another phrase was, ¿Cómo se dice? Sin prisa, pero sin pausa in English. And this is a nice phrase, I think both in English and Spanish. And in English, you would just say slow and steady or slowly but surely. And this comes from a longer phrase, which is, the other one slow and steady wins the race. So you can say slowly but surely or slow and steady wins the race, which is like comparing what was the race between the turtle and the rabbit and
The
the
hair,
turtle,
yeah, the
the hare,
hair.
exactly. And the hare, of course, starts going really, really quickly, but then maybe gets tired out and stops. Whereas a turtle will just continue going, slow and steady wins the race. So there's no reason to rush. There's no hurry.
I've got another one as well. I don't know if this is a fixed expression. It's something I heard on Modern Family, which is an American sitcom. So I don't know if it was written specifically for the series or if it's an expression which exists, but it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I love the way it just rolls off the tongue. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It's true. If you do things quickly, it's less smooth, it's more hectic. So it actually means you might have to do it again. But slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Exactly. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't get ahead of yourself. Like, no te precipites. Don't get ahead of yourself. Like, slow down little by little, bit by bit, you know? It's easy. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, shall we get started with words that cannot really be translated? So, I've got a little PowerPoint which Chris has created, and the title is Palabras que no tienen traducción en inglés. And of course, there are some that maybe do have a translation in English, but it's not really the same. So, let's begin with the first one you've chosen. Chris, over to you.
Well, just quickly, if you want to go back one slide to the title slide, I just want to point out how we've perfectly both done the eyebrow raise. Like both of us, just the one eyebrow, both of us in unison have done the eyebrow. So I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was a very good choice of photo there.
I like it. It's a nice little like, what? What you saying?
Yeah, palabras que no tienen traducción en inglés. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to point that out very quickly. So the first word we've chosen is sobremesa. Now, as Lewis mentioned, there is a way to say this in English. We would just say staying at the table to chat after dinner, or staying at the table after dinner, or lots of different sentences and structures we could use, but we don't have one word for it. I think, in my opinion, it's because in the UK, we don't really have this culture. Me and my friends, or me and my family, when we finish eating, we will have the sobremesa in a pub. So we'll leave the restaurant and then go to a pub, and that's where we'll relax with full stomachs, have a few drinks. But it's not really in the same place at the same restaurant to spend hours there. I think that's just a cultural difference. I don't know what you think, Lewis.
No, I agree 100%. And to be honest, a lot of the time, when we've already finished our meals, I kind of want to get out of the restaurant. Because if you're sat down for a long time in the same place, often if you go to a busy restaurant, I get a little bit stressed when I see that we're staying at the same table for quite a long time and we've already finished our meal. And I know there's a queue outside of people who want our table. So I start to feel a little bit guilty. I feel bad for the people waiting and maybe for the waiters as well. So perhaps this is an English thing or just a me thing, but this sobremesa, of course, you can have a chat after eating, but you can do that whilst walking to the pub or sitting down at the pub.
I agree. I do think it's from a business point of view. And as English people, we're very sensitive to the needs of others and the people waiting. So I do agree with you. If we're spending hours after the dinner and during this time, the drinking is normally quite slow. I don't know about for you, but you've got a full stomach from the meal. You're normally drinking quite slowly. So you're not even buying more rounds. And so, as you mentioned, really, you're just not spending any money. And there are people waiting who want to spend money on food and drinks, maybe a £200 bill, which the restaurant is not receiving because we're here chatting. And again, that's no insult to the Spanish way of doing things. It's just a cultural difference. For example, in Spain, in the bars, it's not common you see queues of people waiting. So maybe it's more kind of accepted, but yeah.
Exactly. No, it's interesting. And of course, we've got more of these words and phrases, but a couple have just come to mind. And I've got to say them or I'm going to forget and they will slip my mind. And I'm thinking of being in Seville, especially with my fiance. And whenever she's back home, she'll say, me encanta callejear. Callejear, more or
Yeah,
less.
I've never heard that. So yeah.
Which does exist. It is a thing. So to callejear is basically to walk through little alleys and walk through small streets. So if you're wandering around Seville, there are lots of little alleys, little nice streets, And when she's walking from one place to another, she doesn't normally follow the main streets. She doesn't follow the avenues. She will callejear. So that's another word that has just come to mind that, of course, you could say wander through narrow streets, but that's not really a translation. It's a way
Yeah.
of explaining something rather than translating. So anyway, that was just
So
a little thing.
I imagine that comes from callejon. So callejear, like the callejones. Yeah. Okay. So I've never heard that before. No.
An interesting little phrase. And I don't know if you ever thought about it, which of course there is a translation, but it's not exactly the same, is the verb madrugar. Like,
Oh, yeah.
¿tú madrugas? Ah, sí, esta mañana madrugué un montón. And it's
Yeah.
like,
We have the phrasal verb with the word early, like to wake up early or to wake up very early. But it's true. We don't just have what, because even wake up, it has no reference to the time. So, yeah. Wow. I never thought of that. Madrugar. That's a good verb to have as well. Yeah.
so yeah, if any of these come to mind, we can pause and go over them. But of course, we are very, very organized people, obviously. So we
Of
have
course.
prepared a few of these. And the next one is another verb. Estrenar. Chris, do you want to explain it? What is this?
Well, why don't you explain this one? I did the first one, so I'll hand over the reins to give you control. Hand over the reins.
In that case, I will take the reins. I will take control. So
As you said, we're very organized, so we can't switch the order. Like, that would be crazy. No, it's me, and you, and me. We're British, Lewis. We don't mess with the order of things. That's how we had an empire. We stick to a very rigid structure.
it sounds, Chris, like you might have some kind of OCD. That you might have some kind of obsessive compulsive disorder, which in Spanish is TOC, trastorno obsesivo compulsivo. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you might have a little bit of TOC, a little bit of OCD.
Maybe, or maybe I'm just feeling too tired to explain this one, so I want you to take the reins. But no, let's pretend it's the OCD. Yeah.
So, estrenar, of course, we can use the verb in Spanish estrenar, like voy a estrenar unos nuevos zapatos. Voy a estrenar una nueva camisa, which in English we have a verb which is similar but only for like films, which is premiere. So, hoy esta noche hay el estreno de la nueva película, no sé qué, no sé cuánto. So, as estreno, when speaking about a new film or a new series, we can say premiere. But in Spanish, the verb estrenar is used so much more, and it's so much more versatile to say basically to wear something for the first time, or even like to do something for the first time sometimes, which in English, we would literally just say, I'm going to wear this new shirt for the first time. I'm going to wear these new shoes for the first time, which, of course, is a little bit longer and more complicated than it is in Spanish. So maybe Spanish speakers have an advantage on us here.
Yeah, we also have the phrasal verb to show off, which would be like presumir or mostrar. So you could say, I want to show off my new t-shirt, which again, as Lewis mentioned, would have a similar meaning to estrenar, but it's a full sentence. It's not a translation. It's the phrasal verb, I want to show off the object, this new t-shirt tonight. It's a longer way of saying estrenar mi nueva camiseta, which I love this verb. Yeah, I think in English there's no real, even wear something for the first time. It doesn't hit that same note as estrenar. I don't know. It's a really cool word in Spanish.
And another thing has just come to mind related to new shoes, because in English, when you wear new shoes for the first time, we use a phrasal verb because you know the feeling when you wear new shoes for the first time, they're not very comfortable. They're a bit uncomfy. So you need to break them in. So to break in new shoes is to wear them a couple of times so they adapt to your feet and stop being uncomfortable, which in Spanish, as far as I know, there is no translation for it.
So it's the opposite of what we're talking about today. Yeah, English words which don't have a Spanish translation. I've heard break in as well for clothes, maybe a jacket, but I completely agree with you. I would mainly use it for shoes. Yeah. But I have heard people on sitcoms say, I want to break in my new jacket, maybe wear it so it molds to my body shape a bit better. But no, I would agree with you. It's most commonly used for new shoes or trainers. Yeah.
Exactly. Fantastic. Well, Chris, shall we move on to the next one?
Let's move on. It's my turn now, remember? So yeah,
Oh,
just so we
don't
got
worry.
just
Don't
so we
worry. I
got that
know.
order sorted. Yeah. That wasn't me that sounded like a child then. It's my turn now. Another word I taught on Instagram this week was cranky, which is grugnon. Very common with children. So I was being a bit cranky then. I'm very sorry. Yeah.
It's all right, Chris. It's clear. It's clear. Now I know never to mess with the system.
Yeah, don't mess with my order of things. Yeah. Well, so this next one is a kind of obvious one. So I wanted to include it in the presentation. It's tutear. And why is this an obvious one? Because in English, we don't have tu y usted. So this word obviously doesn't exist. The closest translation I could think of was to speak informally, because when you tutear, when you refer to people as tú instead of usted, it's considered less formal.
Mhm.
But because in English we don't have tú or usted, we just have you, we would just have to speak informally. There's no way to say tutear for obvious reasons. Yeah. I don't know if you can think of any other alternatives. I struggled with this one, and speak informally was the best I could think of.
Like, honestly, it's such a strange concept, I think, because we don't have this difference in English between tú and usted, or vosotros and ustedes. And even if somebody ever says, like, te puedo tutear, like, can I refer to you as a two? Like,
Yeah.
I speak to you like we are close. It's like, eh? What? Like,
Yeah.
you do that anyway, right? Unless you're speaking to the Queen or the King, and then you might say, "Oh, Your Majesty, how
Yeah.
is one doing today?" But of course, nobody ever speaks to His Majesty the King.
Yeah, yeah. I think a very similar one as well be fefear, which is
Mhm.
obviously specific to Spanish accents and pronunciation, whereas in Spain, cerveza, and in Mexico, cerveza. So I think it's fefear. I think it's the
Mhm.
same, but just, yeah. So obviously that would be another example of a word that doesn't translate to English because we don't have the fefear. We would say to pronounce with a lisp, I imagine, as with the English, like a lisp. So yeah, to pronounce with a lisp would be the closest way to say fefear.
Exactly. But no, it's a good one. Tutear. So we've got sobremesa, we've got estrenar, we've got tutear, and then I also mentioned madrugar, cajear. What other ones? I've got one. Which, of course, there is a translation in English, but it's not the same. Because, for example, when I go out and have lunch or dinner, or I'm having lunch or dinner with any Spanish speaker, it's common to use the phrase buen provecho, which in English you can say enjoy your meal, but it's very different to buen provecho. It's like disfruta la comida, disfruta la cena, which for me has a different kind of meaning, even though it's used in a similar way. And in English, we actually use a French phrase instead of the Spanish one here, which you can just say bon appetit. Bon
Bon
appetit.
appetit.
But in English, good appetite? We don't use it like this.
Yeah, it sounds weird. I love it how English people try and sound French when we don't say bon appetit. No, it's bon appetit. It's like we try and sound like we're French when we say, yeah, oh, bon appetit.
Like that. Buon appetito.
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe as Spanish becomes more and more spoken, perhaps English speakers will start to say buen provecho, like English speakers start to say siesta instead of a nap. It's become a globalized term. Maybe this is the future.
Maybe that could be a podcast episode in the future as well, like words, Spanish words that we use in English. Another one I've heard quite commonly is mano a mano, which
Uh-huh.
is weird when you think about it. But yeah, we say mano a mano to mean hand to hand combat. So mano a mano, it's really crazy. We do use a lot of Spanish expressions in English. Solo is another one. Oh, I traveled solo this week, or yeah, I want to go on a solo trip. So I think that's really interesting.
Exactly. Now, tell me, Chris, are there any other words or phrases that come to mind from Spanish that we can't really translate to English?
Yeah, so an example where, as you just mentioned with buen provecho, maybe there is a translation to this phrase that I'm about to mention, but the Spanish is just so much better, which is tengo ganas. I think it's just an amazing way, such an easy way to say, I am excited about something, or I am looking forward to something. Tengo ganas. It's just such a easier way to say I'm excited about this thing. I mean, if we use excited, we normally, not always, but we normally have to finish the sentence. I'm excited about seeing my family, blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
we say, ¿tienes ganas de ver tu familia? Sí, tengo ganas. It's so much quicker and easier. I love it. Yeah.
Exactly. And the word ganas can be used in different ways as well. Like, me quedao sin ganas. It's
Yeah.
like I lost
Hey,
the
ganas. Yeah.
interest or I lost the excitement about doing something. As you said, que ganas. Like, what excitement? More or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
like,
I'm
oh,
so
how
excited.
exciting. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one which is really common. Another one is, well, two words, but you can ask someone in Spanish, ¿eres friolero? Or ¿eres caluroso? And then here, you got to really think about it because are you a hot person? Are you a cold person? We don't say. So in this case, if you want to translate the phrase, soy friolero, it's just I'm a person who gets cold easily. Soy
Just,
caloroso. I'm a person who gets hot very easily, which
yeah.
it's a mouthful compared
Yeah.
to the Spanish translations.
This is great because I am a friolero. So this is really frustrating for me when I want to say it in English, in maybe in an English class or speaking to my friends in England. Say, I am a person who gets cold very easily. And in my head, I'm just thinking, yeah, I am friolero. And it's so much easier that they won't understand me. So, well, my classes will obviously, but they're paying for English class. I can't speak to them in Spanish. So, yeah. So that's a great word. Yeah,
You could,
friolero.
sorry, you could do what James Bond does, and you say the name's Bond, James Bond. You could say the name's Hughes, Friolero Hughes.
Yeah, but they still wouldn't understand what friolero means. Friolero Hughes. So yeah, I love that
Hmm.
word. Yeah, that's a really good. I think that's a really good example of a word that just literally doesn't have a translation. Like you said, there's a sentence, but there's no single word. Lots of my students have said cold-blooded. So, well, no, cold-blooded would be for, I mean, primarily lizards, and I've forgotten the family word. What's
Reptile.
reptiles? Thank you. Yeah, like yeah, that word slipped my mind. So, primarily for reptiles, we can use it for humans, but when we say a human is cold-blooded, we normally mean they're evil or they have no emotions, like Hitler was cold-blooded. So, it doesn't actually mean they get cold. It just means they're evil or sociopath, like a sociopath, or yeah. So I think that's a really good one.
Clay. Now, maybe we can do one more each or something similar. I've got one in mind, which is because this weekend, when we're recording this, in Spain, it is actually a bank holiday weekend. It is a long weekend. And the amount of times students have said to me, oh, yeah, it's a bridge this weekend. I'm like, excuse me? Um, yeah, I puente. Puente. I was like, what do you mean by this? And it's like, it's a long weekend. And I think puente is usually when you have a public holiday on a Thursday, for example. So then you take the Friday off to make a bridge and make it longer. But I believe nowadays, in Spain at least, people use the word puente just to say that it is any kind of long weekend, which in English we would say long weekend, bank holiday weekend, or if it's just one random day, you can say a public holiday, but we don't translate it as bridge. But I mean, it's a cool way of saying it, at least.
Yeah, I kind of like that. This is another great example of where the Spanish is better, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just a bridge. Again, the bank holiday is what we would say, but again, in the United States, they would say long weekend. So I think it's just so much easier in Spanish. So a puente, a bridge. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, can you think of anything else, or shall we move on to the joke? It's up to you.
Oh, so I've got one more. It's maybe not a fantastic example of a word which doesn't have a translation, but it is one of my favorite examples of where I prefer the Spanish. So even though it might have a translation, I'm going to mention it anyway, which is vamos hablando.
Mhm.
So obviously, the literal translation, no, that doesn't make sense. We continue speaking. No, it sounds weird. But we could use the expressions we'll be in touch, we'll stay in touch, we'll keep in touch. But none of these have that same kind of that same tone, that same feeling of vamos hablando. It is a translation, yes, but we'll be in touch sounds more formal for me. It's very kind of office English. Yeah, we'll be in touch about the project and things like that. But just with your mates, it'll be we'll chat tomorrow. Like you would need to specify when. Yeah, let's
Mhm.
chat tomorrow morning, or yeah, let's chat on Thursday. Whereas in Spain, yeah, vamos hablando. It's just we'll keep chatting. Obviously, that doesn't work in English. It's just a great expression. I don't know if you know any other ways in English. Like again, I think the most social way would be to specify when and say, hey, let's chat tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, when you were about to give these translations, the one that I think is the most common is probably just "we'll be in touch." Like
Yeah.
"we'll be in touch" or "speak soon," something like this. But to "we go speaking," of course, we would not say. But we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, but again, see, that still sounds a bit formal. I don't know how you feel. Like, yeah, we'll be in touch. Even then, we'll be in touch. We'll talk about it. It sounds like you're my colleague, not my
Right.
friend. Like a friend, like, yeah, I like to be saying, yeah, we'll speak soon. I think that's maybe the best social translation. Yeah, 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 we'll speak soon, rather than just, yeah, we'll speak tomorrow. I think that would be a good translation. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, there was another one which might be very regional to the south of Spain. I'm not sure. But in Seville in particular, people have the phrase which is no ni na, no ni na, no ni na. And
I thought that was Catalan.
as far as I know, no, but maybe it's just a
Okay.
national thing, or maybe it's common in different regions. But I think it's pretty common in Andalusia, where
I didn't know
you
that.
say no ni na, which
Okay.
you think that it means no, and you're like exaggerating the fact that it is a negative. But in fact, nonina actually means like yes, which is mind
Yeah.
blowing. Like how that can ever make sense, I have no idea. But nonina is basically saying yes. And of course, in English, there is no translation for this phrase. It's like no, nor, nothing.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
not no. Like, do you want to go to the pub? Not no. Like it's weird. Yeah.
But hey, that's a last funny one to finish off. And
It's interesting to think as Spanglish speakers. It's interesting because obviously no and na are both ways to say no in English. Like na is not very grammatically, or like I say na, but I probably shouldn't as an English teacher. But anyway, it is a way to say no in English. So from a Spanglish mind, no ni na is literally like, yeah, no neither no. It's really weird to think of it like that, but it's actually yes. Yeah, no, neither no. Yes. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it's tiring to just think of it. It takes it out of you
Yeah,
just
yeah, it
thinking about
takes it out of you.
it. But anyway, let's wrap it up and finish off with of course, your joke. So, Chris, over to you.
So, why did Waldo go to therapy? Before you answer, Waldo, for any listeners, any viewers, is the character in those books where you have to buscar a Waldo. No voy a decir el verbo en inglés porque ya vais a saber, but yeah. So, why did Waldo go to therapy?
Part of me thinks maybe I know it. Was it because he wanted to find himself?
There you go. Yeah, he wanted to find himself. So I love this joke. Obviously, again, very quickly, to find someone is buscar a alguien or encontrar a alguien, but we use find yourself in English to mean discover your true personality or discover who you really are. For any viewers in Spain, the Camino Santiago is a very good example. People say, I went on the Camino Santiago and I found myself. I discovered who I really was as a person. So, yeah, why did Waldo go to therapy? To find himself. The double meaning, the pun in English, a pun, a play on words. That's where most of these dad jokes comes from, is just from these puns, these play on words.
No, I like it. I like it. And like I said, when you were saying it, I was like, oh, I think I know it. I think I know it. Tengo ganas de decirlo. I'm excited about saying it. So yeah,
if anyone sees the same character I'm talking about, but the magazine or the book says Wally, that's just, I imagine, what you grew up with, Lewis, because I grew up with Where's Wally, which is just the same thing, but the British way of calling the character. Instead of saying Waldo in the UK, we call him Wally. So Where's Wally or Where's Waldo is the same person.
Great. Now, anyway, that's it. A pleasure as always, Chris. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, which, of course, maybe we used more Spanish than usual. And if you like it when we go over so many different translations, of course, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video, share it with someone you think might find it useful or funny, or they might just love Chris's bad jokes.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
That's the bottom of the list of probabilities, I think, but yeah.
You never know, you never know. So, muchísimas gracias a todos por ver el vídeo, por escuchar. Un placer como siempre y nos vemos en el siguiente.
Sí, muchísimas gracias a todos. Espero que os haya ayudado. Sí, Luis, vamos hablando.
We will go to talk.
Yeah, we will go talking. No, speak soon. Yeah.
Speak soon, guys. Bye-bye.